free! Free Bradley Manning! Make a hole, guys. Free Bradley Manning!
All right, thank you. Mic check.
Mic check.
Our next speaker is Anokai. Many of you know him from Occupy Your Corner. Anokai is also a member of the International Socialist Organization. Here's Anokai.
Hello. All right. Here's my little speech. The LGBTQI community has countless heroes. From staunch stewards of liberation fighting in the streets of societal scorn and in the halls of governmental oppression during the 60s and 70s, to the cry for equality and fairness through the 80s, 90s, and beyond, to timeless icons who stood fearlessly to carve out a piece of humanity's culture and history for gays, lesbians, transgenders, intersex, and queer members of this planet. Countless unknown brothers and sisters of our ilk marched onto the front lines to fight for the ideals of liberty and justice that so many enjoy today and every day. Private First Class Manning was one of these heroes. However, he did not remain unknown. He denied the luxury of anonymity and the silent servitude when they realized they had, as a member of this species, to ask and to tell. Not about their identity, not about their gender, not about their sexuality, but about the sanctioned abuses and the murder that our government and its leaders hope to keep secret from this very society that hired and paid these people to protect and serve us. Private First Class Manning had spent the past 1,000 days in forced and frozen silence, but the echo that emanated from this hero, the echo of their actions and honesty, has set this world on fire. Many whistleblowers have come before Manning to reveal the duplicity and the double dealing that are commonplace in this world's governmental policy. But Manning is different. Why? Why has this one person been stripped of the rights and privileges that so many other whistleblowers have been furnished? Well, maybe it's because, as a member of an oppressed community in this very society, one that is fighting every day for the same rights as every other American, maybe they are not seen as an equal. Maybe they are seen as something much more dangerous, a shining symbol of the oppressed class finally fighting back against the ruling class. But this time, with facts as their weapons. Maybe they are seen as an icon that represents the basic idea that the truth is the cleansing agent to the fiction that our leaders would allow us to swallow. But instead of taking this manipulative medicine, we stand in solidarity with Americans all across this nation tonight, interested in creating our own cure for the murderous machine that is what our government has become. I thank you all for standing with us in honor of this courageous catalyst for change. May the actions of this one person be a changing element for all of us. May we each now have the strength to blow the whistle of truth against an unjust and unfair system in our neighborhoods, our cities, and across our nation. When we each resonate the truth together, what a powerful sound we all can make. Thank you. Free Bradley Manning.
Free Bradley Manning.
All right, thank you. Our next speaker.
Young lady, you have the ability to live stream that to
That's what I'm doing.
My very good friend Lynn Gonzalez
Can you send that to news?
for the Military Counseling Project, San Diego Coalition for Peace and Justice.
I'll give you an email.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi, my name is Lynn. I'm with the GI Rights Hotline. Today marks the 100th day that Private Manning has in pretrial confinement. 1,000 days. And the military judge at Bradley's case will rule on a defense motion to dismiss the case for lack of a speedy trial as early as this Tuesday. But please don't get too excited. Because even though the rule for court-martial demands that arraignments be held within 120 days, and Manning's arraignment took over 600 days, the Uniform Code for Military Justice, Article 10, gives prosecutors a much more vague, quote, obligation to maintain diligence in trying the accused, unquote. The judge will undoubtedly accept the prosecution's argument that the delay was necessary to await the document classification reviews that were completed by other governmental agencies. She does not even have to deny the motion. She can say that the motion, while the pretrial confinement was excessive, it has been, quote, without prejudice, meaning that the delays were negligent but not malicious.
Watch out, Mom, dog.
That would mean that charges would be dismissed, but the military would just simply recharge Private Manning on all the same offenses. What is more important is the judge's decision on ruling whether or not the defense will be allowed to present evidence on the overclassification of documents, which would help to dispute the aiding the enemy charge. This is hugely important to the case, as the defense contends that most of the documents WikiLeaks released should not have been classified in the first place. Please listen to President Obama's executive order. Quote, "In no case shall information be classified in order to conceal violations of law, inefficiency, or administrative error, prevent embarrassment to a person, organization, or agency, or prevent or delay the release of information that does not require protection in the interest of national security." The problem of overclassification is systemic in this country and has been well documented by high-level officials for decades. The long and short of it is that officials are not reprimanded for classifying documents that don't meet criteria, while there are severe consequences for failing to classify documents. This has led to an exponential growth in the amount of documentation that is classified. It is very important that the defense is able to bring this argument to trial. In addition, it's very important to note that none of the documents released by WikiLeaks has been shown to have caused any damage to national security.
True that.
Perhaps the most troubling in the pretrial hearings today is the prosecution's partial victory in silencing discussion of Manning's motive, thereby supporting the defense's effort to show that Manning is a whistleblower, which is an invaluable part of a working democracy, and in the same vein as whistleblowers such as Daniel Ellsberg. The defense will not be allowed to discuss Manning's larger motive, that all information should be freely accessible to the American people. The judge has ruled that the defense may discuss Manning's motive only insofar as to show that he did not know that giving information to WikiLeaks meant that he was dealing with the enemy. Private Manning is charged with aiding the enemy, which is considered treason and carries a potential life sentence. The prosecution, in a move considered unprecedented, contends that Manning didn't have to intentionally aid the enemy, that merely knowing that Al-Qaeda could use the information is enough to convict him of treason. They have also declared that it made no difference that Private Manning had released, no difference if he had released the information to other organizations such as the New York Times, that his charges would have remained the same. This has caused a huge outcry among journalists, from the LA Times to the Guardian, Huffington Post, New York Times. Glenn Greenwald wrote, quote, "The government's argument can be and almost certainly will be just as easily applied to the vast majority of leaks on which investigative journalism has always relied. Mainstream news outlets might want to take a serious interest in this fact and marshal opposition to what is being done to Private Manning, if not out of concern for the injustice to which he is being subjected, then out of self-interest to ensure that their reporters and their past and future whistleblowing sources cannot be similarly prosecuted." Almost done. We must consider consider the ramification of Private Manning's case to all service members. Remember that since World War II, following orders is not a defense when charged with war crimes. If we charge service members for shedding light on war crimes, we are dooming them all to the catch-22 that if war crimes are being committed, they will be prosecuted if they participate, and they will be prosecuted if they try to blow the whistle on them. We are all Bradley Manning. Thank you.
As soon as you're on the ground, you're down there to pet her.
Thank you, Lynn Gonzalez. All right, our next speaker from Veterans for Peace, Jim Summers, President of Veterans for Peace.
Good evening. Hello. My white beard tells you that I've lived through more than one war. I was a U.S. Navy hospital corpsman from 1973 to 1977. Saigon fell in 75, for those of you who are too young to remember it. There was a real hero from that war. It was somebody who served his country and defended us instead of projecting American imperial power. His name was Hugh Thompson. He was a helicopter pilot. He set his chopper down in the middle of a massacre, trained his guns on American troops, and stopped the My Lai massacre. He reported the ongoing and broad massacre that was going on in the Songve Valley at great personal cost. He was ostracized and punished. And 9 years later, finally, when his name was cleared, he received the Soldier's Medal, which is the highest medal you can get that's not in the face of enemy fire. He is a real hero. Our local chapter is named after him. The cover-up that he broke was being handled by a young major by the name of Colin Powell. The Assistant Secretary of Defense, on whose desk the reports stopped, was a guy by the name of Donald Rumsfeld. This is the same story. The Vietnam War finally ended partly because Daniel Ellsberg, a good Marine in his time, released all the documents that showed all the bullshit, lies, and cover-ups that brought us into the Vietnam War. And it's been my privilege to meet him, spend some time with him. He is still a hero. Bradley Manning is those two guys rolled into one. He had the balls to call it, to release the video of the murders in Iraq, and to release all the background that showed how we got there. Bradley Manning doesn't deserve to be prosecuted. Bradley Manning deserves a medal.
The Soldier's Medal.
The Soldier's Medal.
The Soldier's Medal for Bradley.
Soldier's Medal. When you're in the military, you sign to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. When you are in the military, you get Constitution Light. It's called the UCMJ, the Universal Code of Military Justice. And the people prosecuting Bradley Manning have blown it totally. They're not following the UCMJ. One provision of the UCMJ, by the way, is that if you are ordered to do things that are illegal, it is your duty. It is your duty to refuse. Bradley Manning is a good soldier. Bradley Manning is the best. Oh, by the way, that hospital corps that I was in the 70s, we didn't have to ask because we already knew, and we didn't give a shit. All right? So don't ask, go tell took about 40 years too long, folks. But thank you for your support. When you support Bradley Manning, I feel like you're supporting all of us veterans. Thank you.